Hey guys, welcome to this second video. In this one, I'm just going to go over how you set up the individual tables once we've imported this raw data. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that you've worked out already how many tables you need and how you go about creating them. So what we're going to do is just create a blank table. So go to create and table, and then you want to switch to design view, which is this protractor and pencil view here. So just click on that. And then we need to name it. So I'm going to call this one TBL, which is the abbreviation for table, and then an underscore and members. So I'm just going to go through the members table. Okay, so it automatically adds this primary key, which we can overwrite because we're going to be pulling the member ID out of the raw data. So I'm going to change this to be member ID. Now I don't want it to be an auto number because the numbers are already there. We just need to get it out. So I'm going to change it to number. Okay, and then the other ones that we need from this are password, and again that is going to be left as text, and we also need member first name, which again will be short text, member last name, which again will be text, gender, which again will be text, email. I'm going to change this to member email. I should probably change the other one to member gender as well. Right, so member gender, member email, which again will be short text. And we're going to add some validation to this later. And lastly, the member date of birth, which will be a date time. And again, we'll go into that in a bit. So this is all the fields that we're going to be taking when we do our append query. At this point, we can go through and leave this as it is, and do the data type changes ready for our entry. So password, I think we need to change the field size for this one. So I would suggest something, you're not likely to get something bigger than about 30 characters for this one, because you need to show for your exam and in your screenshots that you have done validation and you've done data checks to make sure that everything's right. So member first name, again, possibly would say nothing more than 40 on that one. Again, there's no exact limit, but the examiners are going to check to make sure that you put some thought into what you've actually chosen. Last names, probably a little bit more longer. Some families like to double, triple barrel their names, so I would change that to be 60. Okay, and on to the member gender, again, we're going to use a lookup for this one, so they'll only be able to enter male or female. So the length of that will never be more than 6. So to do that, we go to the lookup section. We're going to select a combo box, which is in this drop down list here, but click it there. Then we're going to do a value list, which we'll click on here, and then the source, we click on here. You just separate each one with new line, so male, female. In this case, we don't want a default value, so we don't want to choose for them which one they're going to be, so we'll just leave it blank. Click on OK. So that's done, nothing else you need to do there. Email address. Now, this one is the one that has got a formula associated, which we did go through in class, but I am going to go through it again with you. So length for that one, I would probably say 50 again, probably. Again, it's just making sure that you put some thought into it. Now, the formula for this one, we're going to be doing a like, so it's looking for something that is like something, so that's our start on there. And then we're going to open these quotes, which essentially is going to be, it's looking for a string, so strings will always be enclosed within quote marks. Now, the code we're going to be using here is, we're going to be looking for an asterisk. Now, an asterisk stands for any number of characters, so it can be more than one. And then we're going to add in this question mark here. Now, the question mark stands for a single character. So what this basically means is it's going to look for at least one character before the @ sign. So you could put a@b.com, but this in here, make sure there's at least one, because if you just used an asterisk, they could essentially leave it blank, which is right. Okay, so obviously after the first bit of the email address, we want the @ sign. And then again, the other side, we want at least one character on the other side of the @ so the B of the A at b.com. And then again, usually somebody has more than one letter, so we'll add in another asterisk. And then we're going to be looking for the dot, which is there. And after the dot, again, we need at least one character, usually it's like .com or .co.uk, but it can be more than one, which is where the other asterisk comes in. And then we put the quote marks in there, which is how we close the string. So it's looking for a string that is going to be something at something dot something. Obviously you'd expect them to fill it in. You could, if obviously on the day you get a bit confuddled, it's understandable, you could make sure that it's not left blank. But I'm going to put a note in here to also say, like, please enter a valid email address. Okay, so that's validation for that one. The last field we've got is the date time for the member's date of birth. Now on this one, the format, if you choose this drop down box here, we will be wanting it to be a short date format. So that's just the standard sort of one there. So that's your validation there. So that is everything done for the data types now. So we just want to save it at the top. Obviously there's nothing to view at the moment, so if I now change this to data view, there's nothing in there because we've not imported the data. What I'm going to do is pause here, and then I will go through how we can now append the data into there. Okay, so I'll be back in a bit. Thanks for listening. Bye.